Welcome to Previously on X-Men, the podcast that looks at X-Men comics, movies, shows, characters, and more. I'm Hillary.
I'm Eric.
And we are diving into a whole new world this time.
Yeah.
We are doing X-Men Evolution.
The world we're jumping into is Bayville, I guess.
Bayville. Yeah, I guess we'll talk more about this, but it's a whole kind of different take on the X-Men.
Yeah, it is.
So X-Men Evolution was a cartoon. It was created by Marty Eisenberg, Robert N. Skier, and David Wise. It was on Kids WB, which I loved. I loved Kids WB.
Yeah.
It had 4 seasons from November 4th, 2000 to October 25th, 2003, which means we are coming up on the 25th anniversary.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even connect that. You're right.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Pretty sweet.
Oh my God. That is crazy. I'm having an existential moment about that.
This is like your teen years, 25th anniversary.
Yeah. Okay.
Enjoy that.
That was 25 years ago.
Enjoy that feeling.
Okay.
I know I do. So we're just going to talk about the show in general, and we're going to get into the first episode as well, which is called Strategy X. It first aired on November 4th, 2000. It was released in the DVD collection Unexpected Changes, and the X is a capital X, of course, in that. It was written, this episode, by Bob Forward and directed by Frank Power.
What is this episode called? This is called
Strategy X, which I don't really know why it's called that.
Yeah, and I think later on there's going to be other episodes that use like X in there, and it's just like, yeah, X is a word.
Because X-Men.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this, particularly given the time of it, for me personally, is the voice cast, because there's a lot of crossover of this voice cast and anime.
Yeah, coming from because this show is 2000, so you got a lot of people who were voicing a lot of stuff that was showing up on Adult Swim, but also 90s anime.
Yep.
Did you watch Ranma?
I love Ranma.
Okay.
It's so sketch, but I love it. So I love it. And also Gundam Wing. A lot of the voice actors are the same as on Gundam Wing. So I'll hear them talk. Scott is Herbie Moreau is, I think, Troa in Gundam Wing, and that's who I think of every time I hear year.
Yeah, he's no longer with us, which is sad.
Oh, I think I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've lost 2 Cyclops voice actors.
Yeah, that's so sad.
I know Kirby Moreau most outside of, X-Men Evolution, Inuyasha.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I didn't watch a lot. It was, you were very limited in your choices for anime back then. So
yeah.
Also in Ranma was David Kaye, who plays Professor X. I don't know that I would have pinned that.
Yeah.
Scott McNeil was wonderful as Wolverine, in my opinion, was in Ranma as well, and a bunch of other animes.
So look at that.
And Brad Swale, who's Nightcrawler, is also in Ranma. Are all of these in Ranma? Venus Terzo as Jean Grey. She's also in Ranma.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, a lot of anime voice actors this time around.
We've got our X-Files segment where we're just going to dive in a little deeper about one of the voice people. Vincent Gale is Duncan Matthews, who's a bit player in this role. He comes back in the series. He's like a normie. He's in 9 episodes of this. He played Chief Peter Laird in Battlestar Galactica. He recurred as Morrison on Stargate Universe, so he's got some sci-fi chops, and he recently appeared as Mycroft Holmes in the CBS series Watson. Have you seen Watson?
I have not watched Watson.
Is this the one that
this is the new show?
Is it the one where he's like a diagnostician or something? It's like the new house.
Oh, maybe because he's a doctor.
Yeah, he's a doctor. I don't know. I tried watching that show and wasn't a huge fan.
I mean, we were drowning in kind of quality Sherlock Holmes stuff for that bit, where we had Sherlock, we had the Elementary, and then we had the other thing, the movie.
There's the Robert Downey Jr. movies.
Yeah.
Oh, and Enola Holmes.
Oh yeah, sure.
We love us some Sherlock, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the Enola Holmes movies?
No.
Do you know who Sherlock is in that?
Isn't it Henry Cavill?
It's Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
I think that's so bizarre. He's very good at it, I think.
He's good when he's not being
written
by...
kind of weirdo pretty well.
Yeah, he's good when he's not being written by somebody who's never spoken to a human being in their life.
Yes, that is an odd direction to take it. So anyway, let's talk about just the show. So like
The show.
This is like peak teen years for me. Like when I rewatched this episode, it was like going back in time. And like it's cheesy and whatever, but like it's very made for me as a teen.
I was home watching this as it aired because, November 2000, so this came after the movie. So this came after the summer that I was really getting into X-Men and everything. So this was a big deal for me. And there's an element or two that you're like, oh yeah, this is it. It has that thing, you don't really see it anymore, where you could definitely tell it was inspired by the movie.
Yes.
Mainly with like Wolverine being on the road because that movie ended with him leaving the schools.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that there's probably some thematic and character elements that like it draws from the movie, but also at the time, things that they felt would be more accessible.
We saw him for a second, but Sabretooth's design is based off of the movie because when they were doing this cartoon, they're like, can you just put him in like a brown coat and kind of thing? And they're like, oh, why? And then they saw the movie, they're like, oh. And also, I mean, Mystique, Magneto, Toad, and Sabretooth were the brotherhood of mutants in the very first X-Men movie, and they are, at least all four of them are seen, if not starring in this episode. So there's a lot of that as well.
Yeah. This show also does kind of a weird thing where they are living at the mansion, but they're going to school at a regular school. Yeah. So it also seems to be sort of leaning into that, like, let's make the X-Men a little more normal.
Well, there aren't a lot of students right now. Like, as far as I can tell, it's just Scott and Jean.
I think it's just Scott and Jean, and I don't know how long they've been there at this point.
Yeah, later seasons it becomes like the full kind of school, like the movies, and then Grant Morrison went with the world. But it's Scott and Jean are the high schoolers in high school.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, like scenes with them being bullied at their lockers and like just regular high school stuff kind of feels like a Smallville and like those kinds of things where they were just like, let's just do superheroes, but also it's just a teen drama.
I mean, Smallville was the same year, right? 2000.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is the thing. And it's, coming off of Kids WB and they're, the WB. Oh, I'm sorry. Nick probably just screamed his head off. Smallville was 2001. So I guess Smallville stole from X-Men Evolution.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. X-Men the Animated Series really kicked off the 90s Marvel superhero era and craze and all of that. And along with the Batman Animated Series. But in 2000, when this is airing, I mean, you don't have Mutant X yet on TV. So there's that. The Spider-Man animated series is over. The X-Men animated series obviously is over. They had the Avengers United They Stand had ended. So you've got X-Men Evolution airing at the same time as Spider-Man Unlimited, which didn't have a bunch of success. And the DC animated universe, gosh, I want to say it kind of feels like it's winding down at this point because you've got Batman Beyond at the time, but I'm pretty sure Superman and Batman themselves are ending at this point.
Okay.
So it's kind of a transitional period for comic book superhero animated series.
Yeah, and in hindsight, it sort of feels like this was a shift, and maybe this is just my child brain talking, but it feels like it was a shift from sort of a two-dimensional comic feel of cartoons to something a little more three-dimensional. That's like the only way I can kind of like physically, like the art feels a lot deeper, but also like the storytelling feels more like it's just a regular show that's animated. There's something about that.
It's funny. I feel like doesn't always, this show in general, and it's more my memory, so we'll see. I remember not loving the first season much of this show, but I know later on there's a lot of references to like other classic like teen movies like Heathers and stuff. So it kind of it's like trying to market itself to teen, but it's also having to be on Kids WB at times.
Right,
so
yeah.
it's interesting. Okay, so DC animated wise, yeah, Batman and Superman are done. Batman Beyond is on, but even Batman Beyond is on its last season during this. So you've got this, you've got Static Shock.
Oh, I love Static Shock. I was trying to think of other like comparable shows and I forgot about that.
The DC universe won't really come back until Justice League in 2001. So yeah, you've got this weird period, and then you can see how The Batman, I know you and your husband like that show.
Yep.
That comes back, that comes in 2004, and you can see how that shows up after something like X-Men Evolution, where they're like, okay, we're gonna start doing, the 90s did the comic book accurate, trying to do like, the X-Men animated series was trying to do straight adaptations. The Batman animated series was trying to create like a definitive Batman. I feel like the other shows, including Spider-Man and, well, geez, not Superman, but I mean like Iron Man will show up. They start just playing with the formula because it's all already been done. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you got to market it, right?
Yeah, but also, again, this is coming from the movie, which is fun to think about with X-Men, because like X-Men doesn't really like, there's no we got X-Men 97, but it's not really like geared at kids. And
yeah,
you had Wolverine and the X-Men later after this, but I mean, was that necessarily to come off of a movie or anything? I mean, that was like 2009, so that's the first Wolverine movie, the X-Men Origins Wolverine. So it's hard to say if that's like because of that movie. So it's just
yeah, it was funny. One of the I watched all of the like background stuff on the DVD, and one of the creators, I wish I could remember who it was, but one of them said about like they had to have Wolverine because he's so popular with kids, and I was like, is he?
Yeah.
I mean, I was super popular, but like I don't know if I would have gone with kids. Probably now he is, but at the time, I don't know.
It's just kind of a different thing for the X-Men, because the 90s cartoon was coming off of the comics being the highest selling comics of all time, and just killing it in sales with Jim Lee and X-Force and Claremont coming off of his run and stuff. So like that was just based off of X-Men was popular. And this, gets greenlit because before the first movie came out, Fox Kids was showing X-Men, the 90s animated series that summer to lead up to the movie. And then this comes after that. But like those movies aren't, I mean, I'm not sure if any of the X-Men movies they're not geared towards kids in the same way that you could say like Spider-Man is, or the MCU becomes and stuff. It's just the X-Men are a lot more heady, especially the movies. So it's just kind of an interesting, but I like it. I like that they geared X-Men towards kids, because you need to get, kids, new fans and stuff. It's just
it does feel though like, I mean, it's Kids WB, but like it does feel like it's intentionally geared toward like teens, maybe preteens, and like that kind of thing. So maybe it's sort of borderline.
Yeah. Anywho, the music. I mean, the theme comes, the intro. Yeah, I forgot about that theme. I'm not a huge fan of that theme. It sounds very much of its time in a way that I don't think the 90s animated series, I think the 90s one just sounds cool today, and this one sounds like it came out in 2000.
Yeah, there's something about the early 2000s that is such a bottle.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, anything that's made for that time is like only then.
Yeah, it's all the Frost and Hairs and the Skater Boy look, and it's also pre like like the internet, even in 2000, it's not there yet, but after this show is done and stuff, the internet will be like the mass cultural delivery system. So like I know 90s music when I hear it, and I recognize 90 or 2000s music from like 2000 to 2005 pretty easily. But after that, it really starts to get hard for me because everything is everywhere at that point and it stops feeling identifiable by decade.
Yeah. It's kind of homogenized. Yeah. That's interesting. You're right. So like the 2000s are like the early 2000s are sort of the dregs of the time when we would have that like really encapsulated culture.
Yeah.
Before the internet kind of muddies everything together.
Yeah. It's kind of the end of all that.
That's so interesting.
So,
well, I'm going to be thinking about that.
But also, to date this show even more, Hillary, we're watching the first episode of X-Men Evolution in 2000. So this is still a year before 9/11.
Oh, I always forget.
Changes everything. And
it's a pivot point.
So this is a weird, like, it's that year after the 90s where we're like, everything's going to be great.
Yeah, it's the millennium.
Yeah, which I think helps you kind of understand the first season of X-Men Evolution, because I think anything X-Men wise, anything really after 9/11 starts working in that kind of headspace.
Yeah.
And I think, season 1 of X-Men Evolution, there's almost a bit of innocence in the whole X-Men concept that you lose after this season. And, when Grant Morrison starts writing the X-Men and stuff.
Yeah. Interesting. So this season will be a weird little capsule to go through.
Wasn't the summer of 2000 a great time? Let's keep on having a good time.
Let's just roll with it, man.
Yeah. But how does this show start, Hillary?
Strategy X, first episode. It starts with a football game. I mean, this just lays out what the show's going to be immediately. Because, like, if you're going to try to show a classic American high school situation, this is it. They're playing. There's the cheerleaders.
And we know the cheerleaders are good because they're saying touchdown over and over again.
Touchdown, touch. That's how you want to get a touchdown, presumably.
Yeah.
In football, which I know. I know that is a thing.
Boy, I also forgot about this character.
About Duncan?
I forgot he existed. I honestly...
I remember him immediately.
When it showed up, I was like, is this Cody? No, it's Duncan.
Yeah, it's Duncan. Duncan Matthews, who I guess I'm going to assume he's a quarterback because everybody's always a quarterback in this role, but he's a football player. And Jean shows up, our first mutant. She's taking pictures, I guess probably for the yearbook or whatever, and is kind of flirty with Duncan. Mm-hmm. And
I mean, yeah, they're dating.
Oh, are they dating?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They always have them date these jerks. I don't know. Anyway, so Duncan is with a group of other football players, and they see Toad in the stands. Toad, what's his name? Is it Todd? Is his name Todd?
Yeah, it's Todd Tolinsky. So they call him Tolinsky all the time. Toad is voiced by Noel Fisher, who goes on to play Michelangelo in the 2014 and 2016 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that everybody hates, but I had a good time with.
Do you know if Nick liked it? I don't remember which ones he does.
No, he does. No, those are the live action. I don't even think you've ever finished the first movie, Hillary. It's the one where Megan Fox.
Oh, say no more. I don't need Megan Fox in my life.
I had a good. Everybody said it was bad, and when I watched it, I'm like, you know what? This was fun, and the sequel also fun.
Well, get the joy where you can. Yeah. Anyway, so they see Todd, Todd Tolinsky. So the group of football players on the field see him in the stands stealing people's wallets. And they decide in very bully teenage boy manner that they're going to go deal with this situation. And they ask their coach if they can be excused for a minute in the middle of the game.
Yeah. Well, they're winning 42-17. So I guess they never heard of a turnover.
They just leave.
Yeah.
So they go into the stands, and I think that's the last we see them for a second. But we assume that they're up to no good. Then we have our first glimpse of Cyclops, who I thought was acting pretty cool. I remembered him being more, I don't know, nerdy, I guess, to kind of like balance out Gene's popularity.
Well,
but he's just sort of like a cool loner, I guess.
I feel like later in the show, like whenever he's with Gene, I feel like he comes across as a dork.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But he's in the stands, and he also separately notices Todd doing the wallet thing.
Yeah, you can just say Toad. We'll know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Someone asks if they should call the cops, and he's like, "No, let's just see if we can handle this." And he seems to be inclined to like give Toad a break, and he's going to go deal with the situation.
Yeah. So they have a scuffle under the bleachers. It's so funny because like Cyclops' first line is, "Hey, check it."
He does not.
Yeah, when he sees Toad doing it, he's like, "Hey, check it." And I was just like,
oh
man, this show, at this time.
This show was written by adults trying to sound like teens. Yeah. Okay, so under the bleachers, the football players corner Toad, and Cyclops has a cool, stepping in moment. He seems pretty like self-assured for a teenage boy, but he is like, leave that guy alone. I'm gonna whatever, and basically completely steps to them. Like they're ready to beat him up, and he's gonna take care of it. So he, I think, attacks them. I think he like tackles somebody.
He tackles them, and then there's kind of a scuffle, and he loses his glasses, and everything blows up in the bleachers. Luckily, Duncan won't remember any of this.
Yes, very lucky.
And then it goes to the new intro with that man. Yeah, that is everything.
With like them all dancing. There's like kitties dancing.
Yeah,
I always think of that when I hear that sound.
That's because like everybody gets like a kind of an action beat, except for Jean, where she's like on a car, just like kind of flirting with Scott. And then it's Kitty dancing with kind of like the strobe lights going off.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. So you get to see what the whole cast will be moving forward, since a lot of the characters will get introduced episode by episode. It has a lot of the music does remind me like, oh yeah, this did come out at the same time as Batman Beyond, because you kind of get that teenage. The thing Batman Beyond has going for is it's set in the future, so all the stupid teen slang is already made up.
Yeah. That is fortuitous.
It kind of has like similar sound qualities of all that. I think a lot of this show feels like it came out of like the PS1 culture.
Okay.
I don't know if that really makes sense, and maybe it's just the timing, because like the PS2 is also on its way or already out at this point, but it feels very like this is the X-Men show that you make after the PlayStation has come out and affected geek culture in its own ways, and was kind of cool.
Okay.
So we cut to Jean and Cyclops having a moment, and then Jean goes to check on Duncan because they're dating.
Aww.
And we see Professor X wipes people's memories of what happened.
Yeah. So. I mean, he's more cautious with it than I think he is in other representations of him, but he does. He like Duncan, I think, has genuinely just had a concussion and lost the memory. It seems to be presented that way. But when like the chief of police or somebody is sort of trying to decide what must have happened, Xavier just kind of gives him a nudge to it being an accident.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's something that like classic Stan Lee writing Professor X did all the time.
Yeah.
Just always had people like if the Blob met them, he'd be like, all right, forget who we are now. And the Vanisher is like, all right, forget you have powers. And
I mean, if you can do that, it's kind of hard to like write a story where it's like he could do this, but he's not going to, and everything's going to be more difficult.
Yep.
So he deals with that situation, and then he decides that he needs to go to the train station because he's picking someone up. Storm is driving him.
Yeah, Storm does not get to be a teenager.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is a missed opportunity to have fun with Storm as a character.
That's true.
But
yeah, I wonder why they went that way. I mean, I guess they have to have some people who are teachers. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I like having Wolverine be an adult, and I guess you can't have him be the only adult.
Yeah, and I mean, it does make sense if you're making Wolverine if you're to make Wolverine adult, if you're playing on the whole, he's been around since, at least World War II in this show, and with his past and stuff. But And maybe he's the character that would be the hardest to make a teenager and win over fans.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, a teenage Wolverine would be so obnoxious.
Yeah, you're right. That would be like, get over yourself.
I mean, he does. I mean, the 90s one does, and, you know, Wolverine in general, he acts like a petulant teenager a lot, except, you know, he can get away with it because he's got claws.
Yeah. Well, speaking of him, the next scene we see that Wolverine is on his motorcycle somewhere.
What a way to introduce Wolverine. He walks in and asks for a bottle of water. Make sure that water I'm buying from you is cold.
Yep.
And then he cuts off the top of I guess a glass bottle of water.
It seems like it must be glass. Yeah.
What?
He's got to be in like Maine or something because the accent on that guy.
Don't you think it would be Canada?
I mean, I guess so, but that was not a Canadian accent.
Oh, yeah.
If that was what he was going for.
Well, again, just like the 90s animated series, pretty much all of the voice actors are Canadian voice actors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he read that in the newspaper, so he's like, well, time to get home. And then we get a little glimpse of Sabretooth growling because he is tracking him.
Yep, that's trouble brewing.
Yeah.
So back to the mansion, Scott and Jean are getting ready to go out, and it's an interesting because like he's waiting for her to get out of the bathroom and sort of acting like a brother would, like you're taking up so much time, but also they're sort of flirty. I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic there. But as they're leaving, Charles stops them to introduce.
Yes, because after he took care of the bleacher incident, he said they have a train to catch, and they picked up Kurt from the train, who when we saw him, he was just in like a cloak, and we can kind of see like some shadow under him. And now we meet him for real, and he shakes Cyclops' hands, and Cyclops is a little freaked out because he's got the 3-fingered hand.
Yeah, it's funny too because like he's clearly very, very self-conscious about his appearance. And Xavier's just like, don't worry about it. You're with friends. Just completely go for it. And he does nothing to like prepare Scott and Jean for this.
Just have a quick psychic memo with the three of them saying like, oh, by the way, the kid I'm introducing to you, blue, 3 fingers.
Because, like, obviously, eventually they'll be fine with it, but, like, the initial reaction is going to hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
So maybe just say something.
Nah. But let him. I mean, I guess he could be like, well, he needs to get toughened up or something. But that's such like stepdad thinking, you know?
That feels right. It does.
What? You're sad because you got 3 fingers? I lost a finger at the woodmill. You think I'm crying about it?
Shake that man's hand.
So, yeah, they just kind of interact. And it's funny because, like, when Jean meets him, she says, do you have a special gift? I'm like, isn't being blue with a tail and 3 fingers enough to count as a mutant for you? Like,
yeah. Like, what's your special gift?
Yeah.
Well, I'm blue.
Makes me think of the poor furry mutant that we always saw in the 90s show when they needed a non-powered mutant. Be like, I don't have powers. I'm just fuzzy.
I'm just fuzzy, don't hurt me. But yeah, so he shows her his BAM thing, and they're all suitably impressed. Then we cut to the principal's office at the school. So not the institute, the school. And Toad is waiting for the principal and goes in. And she's aggressive and like cold and stuff. And she's sort of like trying to get him to spy on the Xavier people because she has picked up on them having connected over this wallet stealing situation.
Yeah.
And so it initially is just sort of like, you better do what I tell you. But then she morphs into like a creepy demon monster and like yells at him that he has to do this. And so you're like, well, what the heck is her deal?
Yeah. But also it's just more of Toad being like, yo, I'm sorry, whatever. I don't know. You know, wow, boy, you know, don't blame me. Chill out.
That's a very good impression.
Well, it's just I always remembered the Toad, you know, being that type of character, but it's another thing to like remember the voice and the lines he says. Let's talk about, because a big thing about this show of the 90s, like you could say like, oh, in the 90s animated series, Toad showed up. He looked like Toad and he had Toad's powers. Oh, here's Quicksilver. Same thing. This one is going to be a lot of like, they redesigned pretty much everybody's costume. not based off of like alternative costumes in the comics or any of that. So they designed all their costumes, and their ages and personalities are different. So who have we met total? We've met of the X-Men, we've met Cyclops and Jean so far. They're teenagers and they're played, I mean, they seem like teenagers to me.
Oh yeah, I think this works better than the 90s cartoon at making the ages seem right.
Yeah, so Scott and Jean. Jean has her like green costume with her headband, and Cyclops is this kind of a play, it feels like on his old X Factor costume from the comics, where it's with the yellow X across his chest.
They do the mostly black svelte thing, but they still have color in there. Yeah. So I think that's...
And it's nice because we're coming off the movie, but they don't go full the movie costumes. But I mean, also you're gearing it at kids and toys and stuff. So there's that. Kurt, he feels like, so you could be like, yes, this is a teenage Cyclops. I recognize that. This is a teenage Jean. I recognize that.
Yeah.
I feel like they take more liberties with Kurt / Nightcrawler. He's got his German accent, but he kind of comes across, and later I think it's really hammered home in other episodes, he's kind of played like as a surfer dude kind of personality.
Yeah, the personality is pretty different for him. I think that they sort of were like, he's good-natured, and they just sort of took that in a different angle.
Yeah, I mean, Nightcrawler in this, it's not just that he's like goofier, it's that he's a teenager and he's got a fun power, but sometimes he gets on my nerve. He kind of becomes like throughout the show, this show's good at doing ensemble stuff. They kind of put Wolverine in the background in a lot of ways, unlike the 90s show, but Nightcrawler is very much like the face of this show.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like he and Kitty and sometimes Rogue are sort of like the biggest.
And Nightcrawler's voiced by Brad Swale. Again, Hillary knows him from
Ranma.
Just tons of voice acting.
This is making me want to watch Ranma again. I love that. I think I have all the DVDs.
Jean is Venus Terzo, another longtime voice actor and actor. She has a lot more. She was in a whole bunch of episodes, like 13 episodes of Arrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You also get a lot of like Stargate people in this show.
Yeah. I guess Stargate really accumulated these kinds of people.
Yeah. David Kaye plays Professor X, another voice actor. Just kind of seems like you need to have that type of voice. You get him. So you like Scott McNeil, the Wolverine voice actor.
I do.
Who is Australian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is it with Wolverine in Australia? It just keeps...
Yeah. He's, again, also Ranma and a lot of Transformer cartoons and stuff. And then...
Oh, he was Piccolo.
Oh, I mean, that's probably his biggest role then. He's probably still doing that to this day.
Although there's 2 voice sets for that original show.
Oh, that's true. And Kirsten Williamson is Storm. A little less IMDb stuff than the others that I saw for her.
Yeah, I like her voice acting in this. It's got the storminess. It's a little more subdued, I think, than a lot of portrayals of her, but I think it works fine. She's played as sort of a, I don't know. I mean, this is just the first episode, but like the way that they have her like driving Xavier and she seems like she's being treated as like a dark horse kind of a thing, where she's like, she's somebody, but she's just gonna like hold back for a little bit.
It's kind of, you imagine the stuff that she's doing in this would have gone to Jean if Jean was an adult character.
Yes, that's true.
She's playing the elder statesman character that Jean is usually cast in.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, the commercial comes back and I mainly started that conversation off because I wanted to talk about Toad. I mean, this character is also because Toad is going to be very regular character by himself, and like when they start introducing more villain characters, he's part of that as long term and everything. So it's interesting because he's not like Toad in the comics, and he's not like Toad in the movie the one movie that was coming out. So this was, a complete personality change that the show made. I definitely remember it, so it worked.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably an extent to which they were balancing, like, make the characters themselves, like who they actually are in the comics, and also fill the hole that we need in this ensemble.
I mean, I think Toad's a character, I think, that you could play as, like, he's super weak and sniveling and useless, or you could play up the fact that he's, like, very agile and, yeah, he's a little gross, but there's, like, stuff you can do with that. And I don't know if this show necessarily goes too far or not with that, but I think it's a more interesting take than just doing the Toad is a sniveling Magneto pleaser.
Yeah, I agree. And like he pretty successfully, I think, plays this bridge role between like the bad guys and the good guys, and like you'll see him kind of go back and forth a little bit. And you sort of see in him the conflict of like wanting.
And the way for the most part, the voice actor, the voice they do, it's a little overbearing at times, but it could be a lot more overbearing, especially considering the place and time this show is coming out. So
yeah, and it being the first episode, where
it's hard to like explain to maybe like a kid that is watching this show for the first time to say like, oh, trust me, this could have been worse. This version of Toad could have been designed and sounded a lot worse with what they were going for here. So Xavier gives Nightcrawler the image inducer, which is a classic trope from the comics, but kind of one that got abandoned for a while because it kind of defeated the whole purpose of having a mutant that looks like a mutant be on your mutant team.
Yeah, and also, there's like just as like a thing to play with narratively and character development wise, the fact that he can look like a human, it really undercuts a lot of the Nightcrawler and what you do with Beast and stuff. Like a lot of that character development isn't really possible anymore because he can and they sort of play with it a little bit, but the way that they Xavier and Storm, when they give him this thing and he's like, I look normal, and then they have this sort of like half-hearted, you are normal, what's normal is you, and all this stuff, and it feels very ineffective and very disingenuous given that they're giving him a thing to make him look more like an average kid in his school. I don't know. And like saying that he is normal, he's not normal.
Yeah.
Like they aren't like you're not normal and that's good or anything like that. They're like, no, you're normal is your soul or whatever. I don't know. I thought that was a dumb moment.
Yeah. And again, like I heard that and like the first thing I thought about was just like, well, he's not normal, and what is normal, blah, blah, blah. And so, like, I found that not to be great. Yeah. And then his design...
This is the period of time when it was more popular to say that you're colorblind rather than wrestle with, like, systemic racism. So it sort of fits in line with that. Like, we're all just normal.
You know what? What's a contemporary of this show? And I think that's... a closer example to what cartoons were on at this time, and also kind of Nightcrawler's image inducer design. It reminds it's Jackie Chan Adventures starts this year as well.
Oh yeah,
on Kids WB, so you can be watching X-Men Evolution and Jackie Chan Adventures at the same time.
I was recently reminded that Jackie Chan exists, and I forgot because I love Jackie Chan. Like I just love him. And then like I went for 20 years never seeing a single thing of Jackie Chan, and then he's back, I guess, for the Karate Kid thing, and I was like, oh right, I love him. So now I have to go in a deep dive of Jackie Chan movies.
Well, anyways, Jackie Chan Adventures is on at the same time as this show, and actually will last longer.
Interesting.
So yeah, they give him the image inducer, but we don't see him use it. It kind of feels like we're going to be sending them to school, but that's not where the pilot goes. The next thing is that Toad is showing up to the mansion.
Yeah, and this is weird too, because like he sneaks in. He jumps over the wall or whatever. He's like sneaking into the thing, which sort of felt to me like it was the opposite of the point of this infiltration, because like the point was that he had a relationship with Scott now, so he could just talk to Scott. But like instead, he just does what they could have done anyway and just break in. But he breaks in and he bumps into Nightcrawler, and then they have a bouncing around fight.
Well, Storm goes out to like, I don't know, to not scare him away, I guess, just like lead him with storms and everything. She has kind of cool music. She gets her own little motif. And yeah, they don't get along well because everybody keeps talking about how Toad stinks and he eats flies and
rude.
stuff. I don't, just because you got a tongue and you don't have to eat flies.
You have to. It's written down. It's a rule.
They end up fighting, and the whole like Nightcrawler Toad rivalry is like an ongoing thing in this show. I have pretty vivid memories of them just like rolling around fighting each other over extended periods of time in other episodes.
Yeah, I guess it's just the physicality of their powers kind of matches.
It's a better example of mutants feeling like outsiders and the X-Men offering one place for them and the Brotherhood offering them another, as opposed to just like this is pretty Scott or pretty Storm or pretty Wolverine versus Toad or Mystique. You know, I've got bones coming out of my skin. I must be a bad guy.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like, yeah, Toad looks different than everybody and has weird physical powers, and Nightcrawler, but so they both could have excuses to go to the Brotherhood or choose the X-Men. So and also they're both, you know, agile and they're played younger than normal. So
yeah,
I think it kind of works.
Yeah, it's an interesting pairing. So then in their fighting, Kurt accidentally teleports them to the danger room.
Why are there no like startup things that you have to go through to get the danger room even active? Why is it just one button?
Well, Xavier said that there's like an automatic defense thing in the danger room that just like attacks immediately. And like, okay, I'll accept that, I guess. But also, why can't they just turn it off? They just have to let it run its course?
While they're fighting, Jean and Scott go in there to help Nightcrawler and Toad survive the, you know, death trap that is the danger room. And Xavier has to go there in person and voice activate the shutoff, which also has a 5-second delay, which seems like if you're doing an emergency shutdown, you just killed somebody 3 seconds from that.
Yep.
Yeah, why is there no remote turn off for this thing? Also,
pretty silly.
I mean, Xavier, just do a psychic thing. Why can't anyway?
So Toad is freaked out, obviously, and is like, screw this, I'm out of here. And he runs off. Scott decides that he's going to go after him. Toad, as he's leaving, he kind of bumps into Logan, and Xavier says, it's fine, just let him go. And so he does.
Yeah, they do offer they offer a home at the mansion to Toad. They offer him a place there. And so they also get that. They get points for having the X-Men, you know, openly offer it even to people who've caused trouble here.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, no thanks. We find out later why. But yeah, Wolverine is just there and takes out his claws, and Toad is very terrified. This Wolverine has purple hair.
Yeah, I always see that as shading.
Maybe I always remembered it as blue. So now I
don't know. But so Toad has run off, and now Kurt also leaves because he feels that he is causing too much trouble or something. It's some selfless action. And so he starts to leave. Scott goes and does sort of the older brother pep talk thing with him and invites him to stay, which I think he does. And then we have a very ending scene at the principal's office where I think this is where she turns into Mystique. So we know this is her. She yells at Toad. She turns into Mystique. And then we have Magneto's voice and like sort of metal things floating around, telling her to go easy on him, I think.
Yes, because he doesn't want her to scare off the recruits.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm sorry, I'll do better. She's like terrified.
He's really scared of him immediately.
Yeah. Mystique, who is also going to be like a super regular character in this show, is Colleen Wheeler. of both stage and screen, more voice acting and stuff. Christopher Judge voices Magneto in this series, and he played Teal'c in Stargate SG-1, but also a lot of people know him as the voice of Kratos in the rebooted God of War games from 2018 and 2022. So he's got that very like deep voice. I can't get it as deep. Yeah, which is a different take to go than the 90s animated series, which had kind of a very you still believed this was like an older man.
Yeah.
Whereas this Magneto doesn't really sound like he would be 70 when you take off the helmet.
I guess we just cut everybody back by a decade or so.
But yeah, and that's how it ends with Magneto being like, we don't want to scare off new recruits.
Yeah, I think he says something about it just being the beginning or it's the end or something like that.
This is the beginning of the evolution.
The evolution of the X-Men
has begun.
So I guess we're sort of at the ground floor of both of these groups of mutants recruiting from the school, I guess.
And it will be more fun to talk about it when it happens. But what this show does with the Brotherhood of Mutants is, I think, a lot of fun, especially like later on. Because each episode really, like, you know, this episode, the Blob, this episode, Kitty Pryde. So it is kind of like a recruiting competition between the two.
Yeah. And it's fun because there's a little bit of like back and forth. Like some of them will go one direction and end up in the other place. And
yeah. So in terms of the opening credits and the end credits, which has music that sounds like it came from GoldenEye 64 to me anyway, you see that Kitty Pryde, Rogue, and Spike are on their way. So they're still yet to join.
Yeah. I don't know why they don't do more with Spike after this show, because I thought he was a good addition.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about him more when he shows up.
Yeah.
How did you feel about this episode?
I had a complicated mix of nostalgia and current appreciation and also embarrassment.
Were you watching this with your son?
No, it's just me. So it was just like privately just being like, oh my gosh. But that makes it sound worse than it is. I actually think it's still pretty good. There are just like the slang and like some of the very obvious trying to be teenager storylines and things that were a little like cringy, but I enjoyed it. I still enjoyed it. I'm excited to rewatch some more. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I've ever seen the 4th season of this show.
I don't think I have. So
when this show first aired, I was all in. But then as a few episodes went on, I was like, oh, I'm not really feeling this because I was still getting into the X-Men and everything. So I was getting more into like the mainline X-Men stuff. So this show wasn't really clicking with me. Later on, they aired this show on Cartoon Network during 2003, leading up to the second movie. So I had already had time and I was just hyped for the second movie. And I kind of had this like epiphany when I was watching one of these episodes on Cartoon Network, because I was like, no, I don't like this show. And what happened was I was watching it. I was like, you know what? This is the only X-Men show on TV. And I like the X-Men. So I need to like just get into it. And once I got over myself, I did really enjoy the show.
What a lesson.
I'm not sure if I watched the whole first season at this point. We should also say the problem this show had is that it never really came to DVD.
There's like individual
you could get
sets of it, but not
one season of this show has a full season release, but they released it like they used to, where you could get a DVD and it would come with 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And so this never got, like, the X-Men 90s series got a full release. Even Wolverine and the X-Men got a full series release, but this show did not. So it coming to Disney Plus, that was kind of a big deal, because it was like, whoa, you can now watch the whole show.
It. Yeah. This is another interesting thing about it being in the early 2000s, because the reason that I didn't finish it, I really liked it from the beginning.
Right.
With caveats, because I hate
you were growing up
and things like that. But the reason I didn't watch it, and maybe you can help me with this, because all I can remember is that they switched channels or something.
This show did have a weird release schedule. Yeah, I feel like because it was on Cartoon Network
there was some reason that I couldn't, like, for my cable package or whatever, like back in the day when everything was very limited, I couldn't watch the last like 2 seasons of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I liked it from the beginning.
Yeah, I fell out of it, but so it's gonna be, because I had already seen every 90s episode that when we rewatched it. So there will be episodes of this that either I don't remember or I didn't watch.
Yeah.
Because again, you know, they released the 90s show on 5 DVDs. The 3rd season is the only season of this show that ever got a DVD release. Not the 4th season, which was only 9 episodes. So you could get season 1 through 2, but it was like 8 different DVD releases to get those 2 seasons.
What a great way to go into Sam Goody, picking up a DVD for $30.
You've heard of the show Arliss, the one that was on HBO, right?
Nah, I don't know.
Okay. Well, Arliss was on HBO, but for some reason it never you couldn't watch it anywhere else until HBO Max launched, and then they brought Arliss back. So, you know, that was a show that had 7 seasons, was popular on HBO in the 90s, but then basically was off the air for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like they did show the series. They showed X-Men Evolution once or twice on other channels for a while, but it kind of had the same fate. Like, it kind of feels like if you told people about X-Men Evolution, you had to show them clips on YouTube or just, you know, it didn't really exist until Plus brought it back.
Yeah, that's true.
I would love a complete animated series DVD release of it, or Blu-ray release at this point. Oh, I didn't talk about this episode. This episode is fine. It does the job. It introduces you to the status quo that these X-Men are going to be. None of the characters are so off. Nightcrawler is I know I said that thing about Toad's voice actor and everything, but I feel like Nightcrawler might be the make or break it for some people because he's so hyper.
He's Catra in the Gundam Wing thing.
This Nightcrawler is hyper to the point that I'm like, ugh. But I think
I gotta complain.
I think it introduces you. I mean, you see all the characters. You get excited because Wolverine shows up at the end. So who knows what's happening? And you know other mutants are gonna show up.
Yeah, it lays a good ground.
Yeah, and like I agree with you. Like that opening 5 minutes is very Smallville.
Yeah, right?
So, yeah, it's just the vibe we were feeling, I guess, in 2000s with our to reimagine our superhero stuff. Yeah. So,
yeah,
good job, X-Men Evolution. You did an okay pilot.
Yeah, didn't suck.
So, yeah.
We're ready for more. All right. Well, thank you to Prophetic Music for our theme song. Previously on X-Men is brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Current shows on the network include This Endorian Life and 9021 Here We Go. Please rate, subscribe, or share the show wherever you get your podcasts. Happy fall. Bye.
Yeah, bye.